Hi guys, welcome to our demo for the assessment. We're going to go through the instructions real quick and take a look at what you're doing for the assessment. Excuse me. Your assessment must include the minimum requirements. The list below is not a step-by-step or a how-to do your animation. It just tells you what you need to make sure you have in your animation. You're going to create a new HTML5 canvas document using Adobe Animate, and you're going to make the stage 500 pixels by 350 pixels. You're going to set the frame rate to 24 frames per second. That is the default. So unless you've played with it, it should automatically be 24 frames per second, but I will go through and show you how to check that. Make the animation 10 to 15 seconds long, and so that it only plays one time. Draw a creature using any or all of the shape tools. Add some type of wings or something that will animate to make it look like the creature is flying. Import or make your creature a symbol and animate the wings or whatever you draw to allow the creature to fly on the story's timeline. Draw a fun background environment. The creature must either start off the stage or leave and come back on the stage. Animate the creature's symbol on the main timeline to move in at least 3 different directions. Animate the creature symbol to do at least one loop. The creature's face must be oriented to the loop's path. Animate the creature's symbol on the main timeline to either land or take off or bounce off the floor on the stage. Add at least one ease in, ease out property on any of the required movements above. Important to know, do not use the character or background from the tutorial you created on the background. Doing so will cause you to receive no points on the assessment. There is a tutorial in the directions to kind of get you started with Animate. You cannot use that character and you cannot use the background. You need to create your own. So let's jump over to Animate. Okay. First thing you're going to do is create a new HTML5 canvas document. When it opens up in your properties panel here, if for some reason your properties panel is not open, you can simply go up to Window and click on Properties right there, and it will open up. Now, it needs to be 5. What did our directions say? They said it needed to be 500 by 350. Is that what it said? Back up here. Let me double check. 500 by 350. Yes. So, right here in the size, we're going to change that. I'm just going to click on it and click it again until I get inside of it. I put 500 and then click on this one by 350. And it changes my artboard. Here is your frames per second. If that does not say 24, then you need to change it to 24. Sorry guys, my screen share just came up. There we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so now we have our layer. Here we have one frame. We know that this needs to be 10 to 15 seconds long. So this little slider right down here at the bottom going to use it. I'm going to slide over to 10 seconds right here. And you can right click, you can go to insert, go to timeline, or you can hit F5 and it will insert frame. That gives me 10 seconds on my timeline. So I need to draw something that has wings and will be able to fly around the screen. I'm going to choose a dragonfly. So I'm going to just draw it in Animate. Animate has some great drawing tools. And I usually start by making my creatures big and then scale them down later. It tends to help. I'm going to go there with a simple oval. And then I need the tail. That, and I'm going to play with this a little bit. Use my arrow keys to bump it over, line it up the way I want it. Sorry about that. I really want this to make sure it's nice and even. I'm going to align it, make sure they're centered up there. That looks much better. And then I want to turn this into one shape. So I'm going to come over here to my properties panel and these little icons right here. This is basically the same as break apart. It will break it down until you get to little bitty ants. So it becomes one shape. So now I don't have two shapes, I have one shape. But now I want to turn it back into an actual drawing object. And this will create the object. So now I'm back to it being one specific object. And that's what I wanted. So now I want to finish his head and his antennas. So I'm going to grab my circle tool again. Oops. There we go. Realign it, make sure it's even. So there's the body of my dragonfly. I'm going to grab my pen tool. My stroke is definitely too big there. So right here in my properties panel again is my stroke size. I'm just going to turn it down. That works. And so now I have antennas and I have a body. I need to make my 4 wings. I'm going to grab my transform tool right here. And select my wing. I need to rotate it a little bit, and I need to make this look a little more like a wing. So I'm going to go back and grab my selection tool here. And if I deselect it, I can hover over the edges like this, and you see my cursor kind of changes. That will allow me to manipulate this and turn it into the wing I want it to be. I think about right there. there's my first wing. And I am going to turn the stroke off. And for the moment, I'm going to turn this a different color. And I'm going to copy and paste it. Grab my transform tool. So it goes down here. Like that. Yep, that's looking pretty good. And I'm going to take this one and copy and paste it. Right click on it, go to transform, and I want to flip it horizontal because I want it to be for the other side too. So there's my wings. So now I need to get a little more creative because I want my dragonfly to look really cool. I'm going to select all these wings again and copy them. And then I'm going to do paste in place. I'm going to make them just a bit smaller. Let's change the color for a second. Yeah, that will do it. Now I need to start creating a color for my dragonfly. I'm going to grab his wings. I have a solid color underneath, and I'm going to leave it at that solid color, but I want to use a gradient on these wings. So I'm going to click on my little color palette tool here. For some reason you don't see it, it's always going to be under Windows. You're just going to go down and choose color, and it'll open it up. Pull it out again so that I can, let me pull it out so it won't close. And it closed anyway. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to draw on it and show you guys. There it is. This little drop down right here will allow you to change from solid to linear gradient to radial gradient, or you could fill it with a bitmap image. I want a linear gradient like this. So each one of my colors, now you can change this. If you have it selected and it's not the direction you want it to be, you can come over here to your transform tool, hold your mouse button down, and choose the gradient transform tool. And this will allow you to change the direction of your gradient. In my case, it's already set. This is the direction I want it, so that's fine. It doesn't have an outline on it though, and I want some distinguishment here. So I'm going to deselect everything. I'm going to come over and I'm going to grab my ink bottle here. Not the paint bucket, but the actual ink bottle. And I'm going to pick a color. I want a color that's darker than my light color here. I want to outline around that, and I want to outline around that, except for it's too big. I'm going to change this to 0.5. That's much better. Just like that. I'm going to grab this one, grab my eyedropper tool over here, right there. And I'm going to click on this one, copy it, select this one, my eyedropper tool, select that gradient, looking pretty good. Grab my ink bottle again, click on those, there we go. I'm going to select both of those this time. All you have to do is click on one, hold your shift key down, and click on the other one, and it'll select both. And grab my ink bottle again. Click, click, But remember, you don't have to select anything when you're using your ink bottle. Nothing should be selected at all. And then you just click on the outline of the shape you want to put a line around. And then I need to color my body. I'm going to grab that eyedropper. And here, I want it to look like this. I want to turn it around and turn it horizontal. And then I'm going to stretch it so it goes all the way across the body like this. And the head color, I turned the outline off, but I can look at this one. It's going to have to be bigger now. There we go. And I'm going to change the fill color like that. I'm going to drag my black arrow over here. I want to do a little bit of manipulation to this. I like that better. Go. And put an outline around my dragonfly. Now then, I'm going to make some marks across his tail. But if I try to do that on this layer, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to grab my pencil. And you can see when I click, it automatically highlights the body. And that's not what I want to do. So I'm going to make a new layer. And then I'm going to grab my pencil. I'm going to lock this layer first. Grab my pencil. Mark. Hold my command key down, click on my screen so I can make my next mark. Let's try that again. There we go. Go through here. And I have my little lines now. I'm going to select all these little lines and come over here to my stroke. Let me put my color back here where it goes. And open up my brush library. And let's see if there's anything in here I want to use. I don't think so. I'm going to go to my width. I want them to be like that. That looks better. So there's the little lines. There's my dragonfly. I want to change the color. To change the color of his antennas there. There we go. So now I have my dragonfly. Well, it needs to be a symbol. I'm just going to use my black arrow right there and just simply draw a square over the top. You can see it selects the entire timeline on both of them and selects my entire dragonfly. I'm going to modify and convert to symbol. Let's say, what do you want to name it? Dragonfly. And now you see layer 1 is empty. There's nothing on it anymore. It moved the entire thing to layer 2, which is perfectly fine. Now, if you're wondering why I've created my creature first instead of the background environment, I do that simply because it's easier. There should be a lot of fine details and things like the lines and the colors on your actual creature. So you see it's easier. And then create background. So now I need to make my wings fly. What's going to happen is I'm going to go into my library tab right here. If you don't see your library tab, you go to Windows and then click on Library and it'll open. And you see I have my dragonfly symbol. I'm going to double click right on top of this little bitty thumbnail right there. And it's going to take me inside my movie clip. So now I see individual little pieces of dragonfly. Well, I want to select those 4 wings. 2 wings is what they are, but they're made up of 4 different pieces. I'm simply going to use a square and drag it over a little bit of that wing so it covers part of both of them. And you see it selects them and nothing else. I'm going to go to modify, convert to symbol, and call it right wing. And then I'm going to do the same thing to this side. Modify, convert to symbol, left wing. Now, in order for you to have an action, you need at least 24 frames. That's the only way you can create a movie clip. So I'm going to go ahead and insert frames here. I'm going to click on my wing, right click, and do create motion tween. Now you can see it moved that to its own separate layer. If I turn that off, that's just the wing. This is where I'm going to create my motion clip. So we've got a second. I'm going to go out to about frame 12. And that's the first place I am going to make the wing look like it flaps up. And then, of course, it's going to come back. So I'm going to grab my transform tool. This is basically an optical illusion. And that's what most motion animation is. It's nothing more than an optical illusion. Right here on the right-hand side, I'm going to hover over the transform box. And I'm going to scale it backwards. Look how it looks like that wing has flapped up. And I'm going to go and down here at the bottom, you have your onion skinning right through here. And I'm going to turn on my onion skin. This little blue dot that appears on your timeline, I'm going to drag it back to 1 because that will show me the original position that wing was in. And that's where I want to go back to when I click in frame 12. Drag that back again. So then I'm simply going to scale it back all the way out so it matches. Turn my onion skinning off. And that is what we have. Now, this is what's called a nested tween because it's inside of a movie clip. And it runs independent of the main timeline, which means these wings will continue to flap the entire time my dragonfly is on the main timeline. And this will just loop over and over and over. So it'll be one continuous flap over and over and over. So now I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to go ahead and turn on my onion skinning again and then go out to frame 10. Oops. Those, right click, create motion tween. And Whoops, I forgot to do my white dot, and you see what happened there because it's in the center. It's going to scale both sides. Take this white dot, move it back to the body, the bottom of these wings there. And flap this up so I get them in about the same position. Not quite there yet. There we go. That's better. And then I'm going to go back to frame 24. And I need to scale them all the way back out so they match. Turn on my engine skinny. And we have some flapping wings. So now I'm going to go up here to the top left-hand corner and click on scene 1. So now you can see there's no motion between on my main timeline because it's a nested tween. So therefore it's independent of that main timeline. So now I have my dragonfly and I'm going to go ahead and take him and scale him down. Oops. Probably about like that. And I'm just going to drag him off the artboard for a moment. I think I'll put him on this side because this is where he's going to start anyway. I'm just going to drag him out of the way because now I'm going to work on my background. First thing I need to do is create an actual background. I'm going to drag a big square across here. And I want a sky type background. So I'm going to open up my color. I'm going to go to linear gradients. And this time I need it to be blue. And I just want to shape the blue. I'm going to click on this little bitty square right here at the bottom, double click it, and you can see it gives me my blues. Put this blue and that blue. Works. So now I'm going to select my background color, linear gradient, and you can see my stroke was on by accident. I'm going to have to fix this. Linear gradient, there we go. And then my gradient tool, it's a little more vertical, a little more horizontal, catty-cornered, so to speak. I want it to be straight up and down. I don't want it to be straight across. So now I need to create the rest of my environment. I'm going to zoom out here a little bit and see more of my artboard. And I'm going to show you guys some of the nifty, fun tools. Under my properties panel, I'm going to grab the circle tool first. And I'm going to turn it a grass green color. And then I want it to be my stroke to be a bit of a darker green. Like that. And then I'm going to open up my brush panel, my paintbrush library. And I want to go to decorative, elegant curls. I want something kind of grassy looking. You may have to play with a few different things. I'm going to start with this Floral Brush 8. And I'm going to make my stroke much bigger. And I'm going to draw across here. Yep, that's pretty much what I wanted, except for I want the darker green at the top. So I'm going to flip it vertically. And then I'm going to turn this stroke up some more until I get the effect. I think right there will do it. I'm going to pull it over here. And so that all this excess isn't distracting me, if you go up to the top of your screen and click this little button, it will mask anything outside your artboard so that things don't get distracted and you know exactly what you're working with. This looks pretty good for my grass area for now. So now I'm going to work on a tree. First thing I'm going to do is grab my square tool, turn on my stroke, and I want a brown color. grab my black arrow, deselect everything. I want to hover over the sides because the tree is never perfectly square, is it? Kind of has that sort of shape. Drag the bottom down a little bit. Now I want to put this just out where I want to put this tree. I think about right there will work. And so now I need to make the bushy part around it. Well, once again, I'm going to use my floral stuff. Doesn't need to be so high this time because it's going to be smaller pieces, but let's go with dark green. Oh, this one. Better. Not quite. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. That's better. So then I've got one of those. I'm going to put it right here and copy and paste. Transform. Flip it horizontal. One right here. And we've got a tree. I think that works okay. And then I'm going to do some smaller ones with a lighter shade. Right around there. So now I've got a nice looking tree. And I still want to add some stuff. There's just not quite enough stuff on here for my liking. Maybe some little flowers on the ground. And I also know that next week's assessment, you have to take the assessment. You add something to it for your creature to interact with. So I'm kind of setting up my artboard with that in mind so that it'll be easy for me to add something my creature can, my dragonfly can interact with. So I'm going to add a few more things like flowers. Ooh. A little bigger for a second so I can really see this and decide which one of these is going to work best. Yeah. That works better. I like that. Just make it smaller, tip it up like this. Yes, I like that better. And I'm going to use this as my little flower on the ground. And I'm going to do quite a few of them. Do one by the tree. That's looking pretty good. And now I want to add a little bit of grassiness in here. There is a plugin you can download from the Adobe website called the Grass Brush Tool. If you Google Grass Brush Tool for Animate, it'll bring it right up. You can also go in and use your, let's see which one that's under. It's under your, is it under the pattern brush? No, it's under the vector pack that's in there. And this works great. These two work great for grass brushes if you don't want to download that plugin. I have the plugin downloaded, so I'm going to change this to my grass color. Oh, you can see it's changing my flower. I still had something selected on my stage. Deselect that. Now, grass tool. And I'm going to add some grass through here. That. And then I'm going to zoom in here. Click on my grass. Transform. I want to flip it. My grass again. Go right through here. It's better. And zoom back to 100. And I'm going to add a few more grass effects in here. Down a little bit. And I've got some grass going on there. That looks pretty good. I think I need some clouds though. I'm going to copy one of these green blobs I got in my tree. I'm going to stretch that a little bit. I'm going to put one over here. Copy, paste. And deselect, and I want to manipulate it a little bit because I don't want my clouds to look alike. Come on. There we go. And I want to this one here. I'm going to have it selected, hold my shift key down, select my background, and then right click and go to arrange, send it back. There's a cloud. Copy this one again. Manipulate it just a little bit. Select it. I want to put it behind the tree here. Put my shift key down, select the background, right click, arrange, send it back. So I had more selected than I thought. Cloud, arrange, send it back. And somehow or another I'm getting my circle selected. Let's try this again. Send it back. Background, arrange, send it back. There we go. So there I got some clouds and my trees and my little flowers and my grass. I'm going to turn off the little by my dragonfly. And we're going to zoom into 200 and tilt it because it's going to fly on the screen. And then I need to figure out in my timeline where and how I want this dragonfly to work. Just the dragonfly. I'm going to right click on him and do create motion. Oops, cancel. Nope. Just the dragonfly. Create motion tween. And it wants to take. I had to pull my circle all the way for a second here. So I can, there we go. Create motion tween. It moved it to a different layer for me. So now I'm going to bring this back up where I had it. Right in there we'll do. My little flower needs to come to the front. Go, okay. So now I'm going to lock everything except for the layer that my dragonfly is on. I'm going to start renaming some stuff. This layer 1 is empty. You can go in the trash. Layer 2 is my layer 3 is my dragonfly. Layer 4 is my landscape. I locked everything except for my dragonfly layer. I'm going to close my brush library. And I'm going to double click up here. We're a little too close. I'm going to zoom out to 150. That's better. So now I need to create a path for my dragonfly to actually fly on. I'm going to create a new layer for just a second. We're going to delete it when I'm done with it. But for now, I need an empty layer. And I'm going to grab my pencil tool. And I'm going to choose a color that's going to show up against my background so I can be sure I see my path. And I'm going to start right here at the head of my dragonfly. Turn my brush stroke down a little bit first. There we go. I'm going to start right here at the head of my butterfly and decide how I want it to come in. We're going to come in like this, fly down, come up, make my loop, come this way, come back up, and we're going to come down here and we're going to stop on this flower. So I'm going to grab this path. See, it selected it. I'm just going to go to edit. I'm going to go to cut. And I'm going to go back here to my stop or bounce or something like that. So I know my motion tween doesn't need to quite be this long because it has to have to stop somewhere. So I'm going to stop it at 7 seconds, I think. So while I'm on this layer and everything is selected at 7 seconds now, I'm going to go to edit and paste and play. Come back to frame 1. There's my dragonfly. It's on the path, but it's not oriented. So I'm going to click it. Frame 1 right here. And you see my properties panel changed. I'm going to click Orient to Path. And we're still not quite right. And the reason for that is this. Let's zoom in here so you guys can see. In my dragonfly, you see this little dot? That's what it's orienting to. We need to change that so it's at the head. So I'm going to grab my transform tool. And then I can actually take this little dot and I can move it right here to the top of my dragonfly. So now I zoom back out. Now my dragonfly is oriented the way it's supposed to, except for my layer is below my landscape. I'm going to just drag it up so it'll fly in front of everything now. So this is what we have so far. Not bad, but you're thinking, wait a minute, I thought the wings were supposed to flap. They do, but you can only see a nested tween when you test it in your browser. To do the shortcut is Command Enter if you're on a Mac, or Control Enter if you're on a Windows, or you can simply go up to Control and hit Test. I have to switch my view with you guys. Firefox, there we are. And now you can see those wings are flapping and they're moving, and we do all kinds of nifty stuff. Now it's a little long, isn't it? Dragonfly's moving really fast, which necessarily isn't a bad thing because dragonflies fly fast. But he's not stopping in front of that flower. So something is happening to my dragonfly somewhere. Well, he does stop, he just disappears. So let's hop back over to animate for a second. And I'm going to go to my timeline. And I'm going to go right here to 8 seconds. And I'm going to insert frame. Like that. So now if we test it, he flies around. And he stops right there on the end. And of course, only for a couple of seconds because my timeline ends. So he disappears. So back to animate, I'm not quite happy with that path. I think it's too much. He's moving a little faster than I want him to move. So I'm going to right click on this. I'm simply going to do remove tween. And I'm going to go to my layer 5, grab my pencil again, my pencil tool again, and I'm going to redraw this. He's going to come across here, fly up, come down. He's going to pause. So right now I have he comes onto the screen, he goes 2 different directions, and he does a loop. So we're getting there. He's going to have to move again, but that's okay because he has to take off. I'm going to go to Edit, Cut, back to my dragonfly, right click, Create Motion Tween, Edit, Cut, there we go, Motion Tween, Edit, Paste in place. And he's going to stop right there. So I want this to be a little shorter. So I'm going to take this little dot. I'm actually going to pull it back to 7. Oh, nope, it didn't move it enough. Let's try this again. There we go. Oh, a little more. Right there. And then I'm going to go out to frame 8 and insert frame so that he pauses right there on that flower. So then I need to make him take off again, but first let's test it and see if that's working at a better speed. That's much better. He's not oriented to path though, so I need that. But speed-wise, that's much better. So back to animate. Back to my timeline. Back to frame 1. Orient to path. Yes, that's better. Okay, so now I need to take off again. Well, there's my layer 5. I've been drawing my paths on. I'm going to leave that for a second. And go up here to layer 6. Now, I don't need that butterfly to start until this motion tween. That dragonfly to start again until the end of this motion tween, right? So I'm going to click one frame past this left black click and do insert keyframe. That's where my next motion is going to start. I'm going to go back to this motion tween. You see my butterfly is selected. Edit, copy, click where I need it to start again, and edit, paste in place so that it's in the exact same position. There's no jumping or glitchiness. It's in the exact same spot. And then here, I'm going to create motion tween. And I'm going to go back down to this layer, grab my pencil, and I need to start a new path. So I'm going to come up here, bring him around, bring it around here, and he's going to fly off the screen. Grab my path, edit, cut, click inside this motion tween, oops, and edit, paste in place, and you see I'm backwards. My butterfly needs to start here, not there. I mean, my dragonfly needs to start down here, not up there. Well, that's a simple fix. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to simply reverse keyframes. There we go. And I'm going to click in that frame, and of course, orient to path. So now, yep, we're looking pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and erase layer 5. My trash can. And I'm going to rename this one Dragonfly 2. So now let's test it and see what we have. He pauses, and then he flies really fast, and he's off screen. So he comes in kind of lazy. And then he kind of flies off. Now, if you want to get more creative with this, you can. To give it a little bit more of a real feel. Go back to my timeline, and I'm going to shorten this timeline a little bit so that we can see it better. And zoom in here a little bit more. Let's go all the way back to frame 1. The background comes here. I'm going to go right here and insert keyframe all. And then right here, I'm going to grab my transform tool. And I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And then right here, just go back right here. Click on that keyframe. I'm going to make him bigger. From small, he gets a little small, like he's far away, and then he gets bigger. And then we get to our flower. Right here. And I'm going to make him just a bit bigger. And he needs to be big there too. I'm going to click here. He is. I'm going to click on him. And I'm going to look right here. My width and height, 36, 36. So when I click in the start of my new motion tween, he's not that big. I need to change his size. I'm just going to do 36, 36. Come on, 36, tab. Sometimes it can get a little creepy and it doesn't do exactly what you want. And you have to kind of get close to it. 6. That one took 36, no one wants you. I should not be locked. It doesn't want to play nice today. Come on, 36. 36. That's as close as we're going to get it. That's fine for now. So then we have him, and he's going to stay in front, except for I want him to start. He needs to get smaller about right there. Just a little bit, not much. And then when he comes up here, just at the very end, he's going to get smaller. It's just flying away into the clouds. There we go. So now let's test it one last time. Stops, takes off, and he flies away. Ups and flies away. Okay, that's looking pretty good. So now let's go back to animate. So now we have created our animation. It does everything it's supposed to do. He flies in 3 different directions at least. He actually flies in a little more than 3 different directions, but that's fine. He does a loop and he stops on the flower. So I met the requirements. So according to our directions, now, in the last 10 seconds, and an ease out, ease in, ease out property. I do not have that property set. I'm going to go to my 7 seconds because this is really where I want that property. I'm simply going to double click right on top of that frame. And you see it opens the add ease. Let me make my timeline bigger so you guys can see it. You can see it adds, I can add an ease. So I'm going to click add ease and it's going to say, what do you want? Well, we could do all kinds of stuff. We're going to go through here so you guys can see the difference of what happens. Go here now. If I rewind this and I play it here, you see he's a little different. It's not quite the path I wanted him on. That is definitely not the ease I want. So I'm going to do start and stop. Slow. So now if I rewind, and he kind of picks up a little bit of speed. And he starts slowing down right there as he's gliding in for that landing. And he lands. I could do fast. Rewind. Fast. If I hit play, he starts out kind of fast and he slows down. And he gets a little fast right there where he made that loop, and he comes around. He gets fast right there. He's diving down. Fast around that corner, and he lands. I kind of like that one. Let's try the one that says fastest. Fast start, and then he slows down. And then it's really slow right there turning. That's not going to work. That looks kind of funny. Fast works. And there's, of course, the simple. See what the difference is if we go simple fast. Fastest kind of changed my motion swing. So I think I'm going to stay with fast. I like the way it looks. And of course, there's other eases. Let me click on my dragonfly here. There we go. I want to be able to see the difference when it changes my motion swing. That's kind of what you have to watch for. Is it changing the shape of your motion swing? It's not too bad, but I want to be back here for 4 seconds. My motion swing still looks okay right there. And this is kind of make it a little bit more erratic. Let's rewind. See, it gets a little more erratic there. That's really not what I want. And Sin Wave is real great for butterfly effects, but not in this case. I don't want my dragonfly to be all erratic. I'm going to go stop and start, and I think the fast one is the one I like the most. Speeds up. We still have a bit of a problem with. I'm going to go to undo here. Go. There's my addies. Let's see if my timeline is back being correct again. Or I added ease in there again. Yes, it is. So back to addies. Stop and start. I'm going to choose fast. But it's messing up my timeline right there. Definitely messes it up there. Medium, fast. Oh, let's see if I can manipulate that timeline a little bit. Let's make it a little more smoothly. Basically what I'm doing is just making this a little more smooth, so there's not such a drastic pull here. I want it to be more rounded. Let's see if that helped. No, don't like it. Eleven seconds. At ease. Except for, okay. There we are, at ease. Let's go to, I'm going to do a custom ease. I'm just going to go through here, moving just a little bit of things around to change my ease a little bit. Let's see what happens with that. Speeds up, that's what I wanted. Comes down. And glides in for that smooth landing. That works perfectly for me. Now the speed of my end one, I'm still not real happy. And you can double click on those blue frames again and it'll close the E so you get back to your timeline. You just double click on the motion tween to open the E and double click on the frames again to close it. I'm still not real happy with this one. I think it's too fast. Not enough seconds there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lengthen this. I can be anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds. I think we need at least another second. So my other layers, I'm going to insert frame. And go back here, hit play so I can test the timing. Still pretty fast. Getting better, but still fast. Add another second. Select those layers by clicking on the layer and move it out here to 12. Now you see I'm not adding frames this time because I actually want to stretch this motion to last longer. When I add frames, the motion still stops. It just keeps the object on the screen for however many frames I added, like when I did between here and here. I need to get rid of these frames. Move frames. Select those because I'm not at 12 seconds anymore. Drop. That increases the motion tween, lengthens it. But when I added frames, when I just added frames here, you see it didn't do anything to that butterfly. It still stops. It just makes it kind of pause. So now let's see if that's a good speed, if I need some more frames. Nope, I think that will work perfectly. So I have 12 seconds. So now we need to make it play one time and it needs to be saved. First thing you need to do is go to File, go to Save As. And choose your DS246 folder and you're going to save it as DS246 underscore assessment 1 underscore your first and last name and hit save. Now, according to the directions, According to your directions, you are supposed to save it as an FLA file. You name your file DS246, and then you zip the files together. What it fails to mention in your directions, guys, if you don't do this portion, it's fine, I'll grade it anyway, but what you really need to do is after you've saved it, I would also prefer you to export it as an animated GIF. It will make it easier for me to grade. If you do this, and give it a second to load. Come on. No, there's fine. Restrictive web colors. That brings it to 5 megabytes, though. You guys might not be able to. 5.17. Adaptive. 5.2. Restrictive web gets rid of the gradient, and that's not what I want. So let's not save it as a GIF because your files may be bigger than mine. So instead, also export it as a movie. Hello, export movie. I don't want a JPG, and I really don't want you guys exporting as a SWIFT because it's make it hard for grading. Let's go to File, and let's go to your publish settings. I'll just take the HTML file, that will work. You're going to go to your publish settings, and right here, you're going to uncheck loop timeline. That'll make it play one time. You're going to uncheck that. Make sure that you have a check mark next to JavaScript HTML. And then you're going to hit publish. Once that little box disappears, it pops up, you're going to hit OK. You may have to wait a few minutes. Sometimes it takes a while, sometimes it doesn't. And then you're going to go into your Finder. Let me share my desktop here. You're going to go into your Finder, and you're going to find your DS246 folder. And inside that folder, you're going to see quite a few things. You're going to find all the files named DS246 assessment. And you're going to select them all. There should be at least 3. There should be a .fla, there should be a .html, and there should be a .js. You're going to right click on them. No, I don't need the recovered file. Oops. You're going to right click on them, and you're going to compress them if you're on a Mac, or you're going to zip them if you're on a Windows. Just make sure when you're zipping on a Windows, I need the .zip file, not the .rar file, not the .raw file. I cannot open that. So make sure you do a .zip. And you're going to rename the zip folder. Yes, 246, assessment 1, your first and last name. I love it when that happens. Come on. Get info. Name and extension. 1. First and last name. There we go. And you're going to turn in that zip file. That's what you're going to submit in the Dropbox. What will happen is when I unzip that, I'm going to see these files. So I can quickly click on your HTML file. And it's going to open up. It's going to play me your animation. If your animation is great, that's all I have to do. If it's not, then I will open up your FLA file and I will do a recording that shows you what you need to fix, what you could have done differently, so that you can use that video to redo the assessment if you wish, so you can resubmit it for a better grade. I will always walk you guys through how to fix things. So make sure you turn in your correct files, because without that FLA file, I can only guess at how you did something and what mistake you made. When I don't have the FLA file, I can't really troubleshoot for you. When I have it, I can open it up and see exactly what you did and tell you exactly how you need to fix it. And 9 out of 10 times, I do a video, unless it's just something simple that I can explain in text. You just need to do this. Otherwise, I do a video and walk you through exactly how to fix your stuff. Be creative with this, guys. You can do butterflies, you can do birds, you can do dragonflies, you can just make an abstract character that flies. It really doesn't matter much of what you do. You could make a space background and do an alien with wings on it. All of that would be perfectly acceptable. Now, I will tell you, you've seen the perspective I did my dragonfly at, right? It was basically just face up. His wings were straight when they were flat. Why? Because it makes it easier when you're first learning to do the optical illusion type stuff. If it's in that position, it makes it much easier to make it look like those wings are actually flapping than if you have the side profile of a bird or a butterfly. Because then that optical illusion becomes a little more tedious and there's a lot of extra steps you have to go through. And since this is a basic class, make sure you start simple, unless of course you want to spend the time figuring out how to make it look right. If you have any questions, guys, don't hesitate to email me or send me a text message that lets me know you're having trouble. The SSC will be open, and learning coaches in there can help you with this. As you've seen, guys, don't be afraid to play around with these brush tools. You click on one of your brushes, your brush library is right here. And those brushes will do all kinds of neat stuff. So don't be afraid to open them up, look through there for what you're looking for. I mean, you can create a really quick and cool creature by going to the hand-drawn stuff. And bigger. Go to my timeline here. Give it a new layer. And you can start doing all kinds of weird stuff. Go. And you can do all kinds of stuff with these brushes. All kinds of really cool stuff. So don't be afraid to play around with them. Play around with the size of your line. Because all kinds of cool stuff can come out of this, out of these pattern brushes. I love them. that will help you create cool creatures and different effects and just basic neat stuff. Be creative. Don't be afraid to play around with all of this stuff to see what you get. And that could be a cool creature with a crown. All you have to do is turn him around and you can have a whole face going on there and just add some body and make some wings. And this could be really cool. So don't be afraid to play around with your different brushes. This is how you learn, guys. It's the easiest and simplest and fastest way to learn and be creative is to see what all these different brushes do, the kind of effects they give on different things, playing with the width of your stroke and all that kind of stuff will lead to a bunch of cool effects you wouldn't have thought of before. So don't be afraid to play with this stuff so that you get some cool effects and you can do abstract stuff. It really doesn't matter what you do so much as that it has wings and you make it fly, and it flies on a path and goes different directions and does a loop-de-loop and it lands or bounces off something. Anything like that will work. But play around with these tools because these drawing tools are really awesome. And if you want to make a shape out of something, let me make sure I lock my other layers here. If you do not start in object drawing mode, you're off. Let me pull this out of the way, but you do not start in object drawing mode. So if I click on my circle, and let's go back. I want to turn my stroke off. See right here, I'm in object drawing mode. That's what that says right there. If I turn this off, and I grab my circle, and I make a circle here, and then I'm building something I want it cut out on this side. And there's no scissors or anything like that in here, so I have to figure out how to cut it out. I'm going to turn my circle and make it different. And I'm going to draw this in here. Now, both pieces are not objects. Well, if I grab this green one now and I pull it out of the way, look what happened. It cuts it out for you. So you can overlap shapes like that. If they're different color, it's going to make a cutout. If they are the same color, it will automatically bind them together. So you get one solid shape. This would be a great obese butterfly body. It could be the great start of a mythical bird. All kinds of stuff you could do here. Flying dragons. Don't be afraid to play around with it. But that is the basic drawing in Illustrator. Be creative. Play around with your tools because as you see, you can get some really cool effects and it really not take that long. Instead of spending so much time drawing, try your pattern brushes and things like that to see what kind of effects you can get that will speed the process along. Again, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me through email or text message. I will be around the rest of the week and through the weekend. So if you need me, please let me know so we can get you the help that you need. Okay, guys, I will see you next week.